Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. There's no build for this one really, so I'm going to fold it into the episode. Resume saved. We have a mission here to make a flyby of Minmus. Now this is going to give us plenty of funding to do a Minmus mission. And even just accepting this contract is going to give us a little bit of science. So we're going to accept that. No, it didn't give us any science. We're going to accept that. And I'm pretty darn sure that the moon orbiter, moon lander, moon orbiter. I'm pretty sure, I'm nearly positive, I'm positive, that the lunar orbiter, with the addition of some solar panels, can get us to Minmus. Just based on the when I did that mission, I noticed how much juice we still had, as long as I had a good flight profile. We were able to get into orbit around the moon. We were able to leave orbit from the moon, re-enter, collect a whole bunch of science and everything. And now we have this guy being funded by a mission, a contract. So why not take advantage of that money and fly it to Minmus? So let me just make some touch-ups here of some things that I've been doing. And yeah, yep, we're off to Minmus with this thing. Put those there. Off to Minmus with this thing just as it is. Okay, once again, all we need to do, this is a pretty standard orbit, so I'm just going to launch this thing up just like I did for the moon orbiter. And I'll talk to you guys when we've established orbit, so hang tight. Okay, so here we are in a highly circular orbit. We still have plenty of propellant in this tank, and we are ready to set ourselves up and intercept with Minmus. Set that as target. We're off by 5 degrees though, so we're going to fix that at the descending node. We'll go ahead and add a maneuver here. Descending node, flying down, so I've got to go up. Warp to that maneuver. "15-second burn," which means about 8 seconds. So 10, 9, 8. Initiate my plane change. Minmus has an orbital inclination that we need to adapt for. It's not on the equatorial plane like the moon, but that is no big deal. If I was really thinking ahead, I could have waited till my launch site crossed the orbital plane of Minmus, and then just launched with a little, not quite equatorial launch. Now I'm going to pick a spot and plan our burn out to Minmus's sphere of influence. Oh, that's a pretty good guess. Ooh, that's a really good guess. Minmus is a tiny little ball, so we got to be pretty darn accurate with this. Moon's 1 closer, and 2. Oh, brother, the moon's in my way, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna need to orbit a couple of times. I'm just gonna orbit once or twice. Okay, again, as I was saying, Minmus. You're right there. Still set as my target. Grab an orbit. Send it out to the orbital height of Minmus. About like that. Pull it back. As I was saying, it's a little bit easier to establish an orbit around the moon because the moon is closer. Stupid moon's still in my way. There we go. Just like that. The moon's closer, and it has more mass, which means much more mass, which means it has a stronger gravitational influence. So its sphere of influence is larger, giving you basically a larger target to hit. Okay, we know that this is going to be a minute 30 burn. Let's go ahead and warp to our next maneuver here. Are we on the light side? Can I actually watch this burn? No. It's very hard to see that crap in YouTube. Okay, I'm not sure. And that thing does not have a minute worth of fuel in it. So, anyway, look at this going. So we just have to be really good about catching ourselves in Minmus' sphere of influence, and we'll trim things up when we get there. Establishing an orbit and leaving Minmus is actually easier than the moon because Minmus has so little mass. Well, maybe we have enough fuel in this stage. We got about, well, coming up on 10 seconds worth of fuel. I think we have just enough. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Goodbye, previous stage. Now we have this little guy to do the rest of the work. I'm going to keep prograde. And we will send ourselves out for a Minmus encounter, just like that. Problem is, apparently we have a moon encounter to worry about. There we go. Okay, according to this, we are on our way to Minmus. Nearly a full tank in here, shouldn't be a problem. Let's get going. I will talk to you guys when we reach the sphere of influence of Minmus. Okay, we're outside of the sphere of influence of Minmus, so I need to do these orbital operations. Radial in to bring our orbit down. So our periapsis is way out here. We're going to bend it. And by the way, we got that contract done, but we'll take a look at that in a bit. You can hear my daughter in the background. Singing songs. Alright, I think a 20-kilometer orbit around Minmus is pretty good. Right around here, we'll add a maneuver to put us into orbit. So look, it only takes 20 seconds. Let's get this contract done. Talk about close encounters, any closer, and there'd be paperwork. 106,000 funds, 12 science. Speaking of science, before I get too far ahead of myself, I know we're going to establish orbit, but we want to do some science work from high over Minmus. So into our spacecraft we go to get a crew report. Crew report from space. High over Minmus, the lake beds seem relatively flat. Perhaps we could land there. Yeah, that's the idea. You can get an EVA report. Record our observations about the situation. Board the ship. And we'll transmit that data back as well. I should have read what the EVA report said, but okay, now We come to our next maneuver, which is the Minmus orbital insertion. We are coming up on the Minmus circularization burn. It is a 22-second burn, so we'll fire it off full throttle at 11 seconds. We can take a look here at what we got going so far. I think this right here is the screenshot. Click. All right, we are in orbit around Minmus, which is pretty awesome. Let's get our solar panels facing the sun so we can do some stuff. Like get another crew report. Looking at the surface of Minmus reminds you of your favorite childhood dessert. You are tempted to taste the surface. We'll transmit that back for 20 more science. And at this point, we are ready for a bunch of EVAs. So let's get Valentina out for an EVA report over the lowlands. Keep that data. Review and transmit. So that's the lowlands. We're gonna go with sometimes there's a biome for the transition between the hills. No. From the Midlands, okay. Review that data and transmit that back. And here we are over this big lake. EVA report. Among Minmus's greater flats, you've recorded your observations about the situation. Back on board we go. Review that data and transmit that back. I'll take a look around here. So we have this lighter area and then we have a darker area. Just above Minmus's slopes, that's always useful. So I'm waiting until we get over this darker area here. It's not just shadow, it's actually visibly darker. Which could be a different biome for us to get research on. Let's try that one. EVA report. Above the highlands, we'll keep that data. Grab and board. We're going to review both of those and send those on. Transmit that and transmit that. Awesome. Okay, we're coming up on the dark side of Minmus. And I don't see... Oh, there's another lake bed that we're getting over. So we'll fast forward to here. Or up here. And get an EVA over this this here lake bed. Kind of wish I had brought a temperature scanner. Forgot. Just time warping around here. So doing these orbits and gathering science data for each of these orbits is a great way, or at least EVA reports is a great way to discover a lot of the different biomes you can go and land on that will give you science. And we'll transmit that back. So we made a lot of science on this trip, and we didn't spend any science from our last one. Now here's the question. As is always the question. Oops. Stop that. Stop it. Stop it. If I want it to land. Say there. 4 seconds. Plus 18 seconds is, so we have about 120 seconds maybe of fuel. It's 20 plus 4, so you know what we can do. I bet we can land on Minmus. If not, we have another rescue mission on our hands. We're going to land... Oh my gosh, that's a huge lake. We're going to land in this lake, right here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. Plan a braking maneuver. Of about 21 seconds. So that's why I threw myself long, because Minmus is orbiting underneath me. Okay, at this point, we're getting ourselves set for landing. I'm going to face this way, so I'm going like this, 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 this. That's all backwards. This, 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 this. Full power. This gimbal's locked. I didn't bring any landing gear. But that's okay. This thing's so light. Valentina Kerbin. It's going to be his first Kerbal to land on Minmus. How about that? Just bringing my vertical speed, or my surface speed, down to 20 meters per second. Again, we now have 100 seconds of fuel left. Landing on this enormous lake bed here. Crew report. Recycle that. Can't believe I didn't bring a thermometer with me. What was I thinking? $500 meters. We're going to go ahead and start slowing us down here and get inside the cockpit and look at these instruments again. So I'm letting Valentina do the aiming of the ship. Radar altitude says we're at 400 meters and falling. I'd like to keep our vertical speed to about 5 meters per second right now. Just barely sipping on this fuel while we come down slowly. (250 meters per sec, 50 meters, 5 meters per second still. Going to increase our throttle and slow us down a little more. Just maintain that 4 to 5 meters per second range. We should have a nice, very soft landing on Minmus. 110 meters and falling down. First Kerbin to set down on Minmus. So this is why oftentimes in career mode I would recommend going to Minmus first. Because we already know that a ship that was bigger than this was not able to land on and take off from the moon. It might be able to, but it's really hairy. This mission has capability to spare. About 15 meters down at 1. 1.5. We might have actually touched down. Did we? No, not yet. Boop. There we go. We touched down on the engine bell. And we're now stuck. Crew report from the surface. We will go ahead and transmit that back. EVA report. That capsule is going to fall over. Kersplat. As it rolls around. Okay, we're going to plant a flag on Minmus. There's my SimGamer TV. Valentina was here for science. We can take a surface sample of Minmus. The surface sample seems to consist of tiny crystal-like grains. Very pretty. Probably not edible. And an EVA report while we're here. And again, we've gobbed up a whole bunch of science. We're just going to go over here and kind of push this thing over. Get over. And on board we go. Turn on SAS. Now here's the thing. This ship has enough torque to just sort of stand up on Minmus. Like that. And with a little bit of thrust and a little bit of 90-degree angle velocity here, maybe 30 degrees above the horizon, we are on our way back to orbit. Push our apoapsis to 10 kilometers. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At the apoapsis, we plan a circularization burn. Just like that. Estimated burn time, 6 seconds. Warp to next maneuver. Okay, since this is such a delicate... Well, never mind. Such a quick burn, doesn't really matter. There we go. We're in a circular orbit now. Now, getting back to Kerbin. Just like leaving the moon, getting back to Kerbin is about leaving Minmus in such a way that we are prograde with respect to Minmus, so we can escape velocity, but retrograde with respect to Kerbin, so that we set our periapsis at reentry height. So I'm going to go like this, get this thing set to where it's useful, like that. And just watch the Kerbin periapsis as I do this. About like that. Now we're to the next maneuver. Okay, we're at this maneuver now. I'm going to go ahead and delete it because I don't need it anymore. I just want to face prograde while I do this. Full throttle. Set ourselves an escape trajectory out of Minmus, and we will watch as this prograde marker approaches Kerbin. And just bring that down to 32 once again. We are going to be coming in screaming fast. Much faster than we were, well, not much faster, but somewhat faster than we are from the moon. Oh, 26, that might be a little low. $36 is too high. Now this is where things get fidgety. 30 kilometers. We'll go with that. Okay. Everything else is really, once again, up to gravity. So I am going to pause recording and catch up with you guys when we re-enter the atmosphere and recover the vessel. So hang tight for that. If anything exciting happens on the way, I'll be recording the whole time in case something I need to talk about something, but I don't really expect to, so yep. I'll catch you guys in a little bit when we are at splashdown. Okay, we're coming in at re-entry, and we are coming in super fast. Over 3,000 meters per second, so that's as fast as we've ever gone. I don't anticipate any issues. In fact, our ablator hasn't even started burning off, but I'm sure it will soon. There it goes. Anyway, things are looking pretty good. I'm happy with our periapsis. And I'll catch you guys on splashdown. And touchdown. Valentina Kerbin is back from Minmus, the surface of Minmus. We'll cover the vessel. Recover the vessel and see how we did. Yeah, we brought back 150 science. We brought back an EVA report, recovery of a vessel that returned from the surface of Minmus. We now have 680 science to spend in our science nodes. Parts we didn't get much back. We have 627,000 funds accumulated. And Valentina's made level 2. That gives her new autopilot options, which she didn't have available before. And we now have 293 reputation. So we're climbing on up the reputation ladder. We'll go ahead and recover all of our debris. Recover. 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 And recover. Or terminate in this case. So we still have the satellite mission out here. You know, being a satellite. Doing a satellite things. And this is where I'm going to wrap up this episode, fast forwarding to daytime to get in preparation for the next one. In the next one, we'll spend all of the science on a whole bunch of new capabilities and see what we can accomplish then. So until then, while it is rocket science, I will say it's not that hard. Keep flying and stay shiny. Goodbye!